Well, then I'd like to call the meeting to order. Remarks from the chair. I guess first off, Jim, I'd like to thank you for your service for the last 3.5 years. Obviously, prior to your arrival, I think we had 3 state CIOs within a 6-month period. It was a revolving door there for a while. I appreciate you hanging in for 3.5 years. I think I'd heard in a discussion not long ago that the average tenure in a CIO position in a state might be 18 months or so. So 2x. Kudos. Thank you for your efforts and acumen and for helping the citizens of North Carolina. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see. I don't know. Is Tina on today? I wanted to congratulate her, or as the case may be, offer condolences as she gets into her new job, and offer her all the support that we can muster for her. I don't see that she is on this morning, but we'll get the message conveyed. Do we have the two folks that are coming on the board? Are they with us this morning? Can we get an introduction to them? They'll be starting with us, or starting in January. But if they're with us this morning, let's see if we can get their names, hear a little bit about them.
So I'm here, Srini. This is Srini Kasturi. Good morning, everyone. I'm here.
Okay. And is the second new member here as well?
I don't see him on the call.
Yeah, I don't think he's. We were briefly together yesterday, and I think he had a conflict for today's meeting.
I see. Okay. All right. So Jim, obviously we've got a number of things we're going to do this morning. Obviously we'll be talking about the annual report. Under new business, I think we're going to elect chair and board chair and vice chair coming year. Depending on who that might be, there may need to be a vote prior to that as well. Jonathan's going to lead us on that part of things. Obviously, we'll be open to any other conversations that folks want to have at that part. But that being said, Jim, I think we're at your part here. Remarks from the secretary.
Okay. Well, I'll keep them. I mean, we just were together, it seems like a month ago, if I remember correctly, or somewhere around there. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. First and foremost, if you've not seen on the broadband front, a lot of activity occurring along the continuing access to broadband, or the CAB program. Funding availability being made out there for 92 of our counties, which potentially could add on another 161,000 households being eligible for being able to get high-speed fiber connectivity to them. When you add that on to the already 189,000 households here in North Carolina that are already underway, and businesses, I might add, 4,000 of those is approximately businesses. That's basically almost 350,000 locations here in North Carolina that, under the Cooper administration, we're well underway of getting access to high-speed connectivity. So I'm extremely proud of that. Little disappointing that we got delayed because of the budgets and different things that have occurred, and some of the delays in some of the bills that had language that we needed, but had other language that others didn't need. And we won't go into that. I think Jeff did a great job of that kind of conversation there at the cyber symposium we had earlier this month. Speaking of cyber, again, Jeff, I want to thank you, Senator Chaudhary, as well, for attending that legislative panel. I think it was probably the most attended, probably the most entertaining. We all felt sorry for Tory Jessup, because he was like the rose between the two thorns there, with the two sides of the aisle going back and forth. And Jonathan was hiding behind the podium, so there was no collateral damage. But no, it was a great session. We appreciate your insights and Senator Chaudhary's insights as well. as we talk about the importance and the need for funding for cybersecurity here and what's occurring across the country. Speaking of cybersecurity as well, last week, in the celebration of Computer Science Week, we partnered with Accenture for Hour of Code. We got out to 51 classrooms, over 10,000 students. We were able to reach in person or virtually. I had the opportunity to go over to, I think it was in Mills Creek Middle School, had a 7th grade classroom, phenomenal. Those students were engaged. They were amazed. They did not realize that a 6-character password could be hacked in under a second, let alone even shorter passwords. And so the premise or scenario was really that they got to own their own social media site. A lot of them chose the company called Snapchat, or Snapcat, excuse me, in this case. Wasn't Snapchat. But it starts out with, there were 6 threats. They could mitigate 3. They got to pick what 3 they wanted to do, and then they saw the impact of the other 3 that were not chosen, and from a financial loss, from a loss of subscribers, reputational impact, those kind of things. Walked them through about coding and vulnerabilities in code, walked them through password hacking, walked them through phishing. And after every time, they got to reapply what they just learned to continue to improve the overall posture of their social media site. So it was just an awesome experience. As we told the students at the end, their mission now is to go back home, talk to mom, talk to dad, talk to grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, whatever the case may be, and help us continue to improve the posture here in North Carolina. So I'm hopeful that is something that will continue, and that DIT in the outlying years here will continue to partner with Accenture. The goal this year was to go statewide. Hurricane Helene kind of disrupted that effort and that goal, but still every year now, over the last 3.5 years, we've been able to continually improve the number of students, or increase the number of students that we've been able to reach out to. So that's a good news scenario as well. You're still going to see nationally, it's probably going to be coming out here shortly, more about the Chinese hacks of our our cellular networks and a lot of our cellular telecom providers. So stay tuned on that. I won't go into a lot of things around that, especially with this being a public meeting. But we are, although there's no immediate impacts to North Carolina, there still needs to be a continued due diligence and vigilance of what's going on across the globe. And we still have a number of nation state threat actors out there doing things, especially as we're looking at not only a gubernatorial transition, but a presidential transition as well. So there, I'll stop there. I'll just say my own sincere thanks for everyone's participation over the last couple of years. While we did not get to everything I would have loved to have gotten to, we did make a difference. And I think that's extremely important for us to just take a moment and reflect upon that. As I said at NC Tech Association that evening when I was awarded the Public Leader of the Year award, can leave the stage knowing we made a difference. So on that, I'll turn it back to you, Rocco.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for that update. Next matter that we have on the agenda is the annual report. I'm sure everybody's pored over that and has gone through it. If anybody has any comments, we'd like to have them now. If someone has something that they would like to send to Secretary Weaver, myself, Jeff, Sarah, anything else we feel like we need to include in it. But I'm going to open the floor now to see if anybody's got any comments or has any questions about what we've gotten to this point.
So Rocco, I'll start, if you don't mind. 2 things that popped up to my attention as I read the report, and one I believe you and Jeff already have addressed. So thank you for doing so. The second one is I know I think there's a recommendation in the report about the funding for the program that Gerald's initiating to continue to enhance through the community college system some much needed skills out there, fiber cutters, different things like that do directly support the broadband mission. I just want to point out or just raise a concern that the board here is an advisory board, so funding should not be directed or managed by the board. But I think what could be done is similar to what we do with the Carolina Cyber Network and some other entities, is that any funding for the program that's given by the legislature should come to DIT earmarked for the institution or somebody to spearhead on behalf of the institutions, and we transfer those funds over to them. This is pretty consistent with what we do with the Carolina Cyber Network. Dr. Sorellis in Fayetteville Tech is I hate to say the beneficiary, that sounds wrong, but that's who we direct the Carolina Cyber Network funds to. And then he, in his role in this Carolina Cyber Network, will do what needs to be done with their governing body to make sure the funds get to where they need to be. So I would propose something along those lines, as opposed to the board directly managing funds, because I don't think that's something consistent with the duties of the board here as it currently exists. And Jonathan, if I said something wrong, speak up.
I will just chime in, Jim, and totally second that. This board is not a fiduciary responsibility in terms of managing monies and allocations of funds. That's not our role in any way, shape, or form, at least not as I understand it. So,
and if I misread the intent of that paragraph, I apologize, but that's how it kind of came to me.
Yeah, we need to be clear if it does, because that's
Jim, we'll clarify that, because I don't think anybody's intention was that the monies would flow through the board. It was really just to make monies available for administration and just to help push the cause on that. And that would,
if the General Assembly wants to earmark or designate funds, there is a process for that to do. There is a proven track record of how that occurs. And like I said, the Carolina Cyber Network is probably the model that best aligns to, I think, what you all are trying to do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll do a little more recrafting on that so that it reads a little bit more consistently with that concept than what it appears to now. I appreciate that input, Jim.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Sure. Anyone else have comment? Well, there being no comment on that.
Gerald, one question. Who is going to be the audience to receive this report?
I believe it is submitted to the IT Oversight Committee in the General Assembly.
So Jeff, obviously be useful if we could get it in front of a number of folks there at the legislature, that group, and then I don't know who else might be appropriate, but probably want to look at that. Maybe do sort of shepherd that through to certain folks' desks so that it gets a little bit more visibility than it might have gotten in years past.
And I know and my only comment being, I know Jim's reviewed it, which is important in making sure he's comfortable. But I think it might also be appropriate to let Tina review it as the incoming secretary to make sure it doesn't go against some core fundamental direction she has in mind for taking the department.
Good
Or
point.
if there's something she might want to add as an addendum, that we make sure this is the first time we can message the General Assembly and she wants to call focus to something.
Mm-hmm. Or make an addition. So yes. Let's see. She was not on the distribution list this time round. Is that correct, Sarah? Just went to the 12 board members?
Correct.
Okay. So if we can make arrangements to get it to Tina, that would be great.
And that's just my suggestion. I mean, others might disagree.
No, I honestly, I mean, obviously, you know, she is going to be sitting in that role within the month or so. So we certainly want her to have visibility to this. I'd like her input on it as well. I think it's a great idea.
I can make sure she gets a copy after the meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Sarah, just for clarity, you're correct that the Joint Legislative Oversight Committee on IT receives a copy, but also Fiscal Research Division. So those are the two mandatory groups.
Okay. There's no reason it can't be distributed elsewhere though, right, Jonathan?
It's a
Okay.
public document.
Okay. Good. Okay. That conclude any comments we have for the annual report? No one speaking up. I think we're moving on to new business. As
Hey, Rocco, it's Joe. I couldn't come off mute fast enough. I thought the report looked really nice. That's my only comment. Looked good. Nice and clear. Very well done. Thanks.
well,
And ditto from Tracy, and apologies for joining late with a hectic morning.
thank you. Thank you, lady.
Tracy, I hope you have your checkbook out, because anytime I hear emergency vet, that sounds like a very expensive trip.
Exactly.
Hope your dog's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, but a little more time to tell on details.
Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Okay, so for new business, Jonathan, I think we go ahead. You know, right now we have the elections after new business, but as part of this, as part of the election process, we've obviously identified that there an occasion may arise that we've got to clarify or memorialize who can be chair, board chair. And so I'm going to turn this over to you so that we can do that vote, get that out of the way, and then we'll proceed on to election for board chair and vice for next year. And you might
Thank
go
you.
ahead, get everybody up to speed that's on the call now that understands what we're looking to do here.
Yes, sir. So the issue came up specifically as it relates to the vice chair and who can be a member, who can serve in that vice chair role. Currently the bylaw says that the board shall select a vice chair annually from the members by a simple majority vote. And as everyone is aware, we have some folks that are on the board as designees. And so I thought that created enough ambiguity as to whether a designee was a member or could serve as a member of leadership. So we could fix that very easily. I mean, what we've done in similar situations was addressed a voting member as someone who can hold an office. And so my proposal for the group is just to add one word, and that would be voting. So Article 2, Section 5 of our bylaws would read, the board shall select a vice chair annually from the voting members by simple majority vote. And I believe that would clear things up. And I'm sorry I didn't have that to put up. Thank you, Julie. But I think that would address the issue pretty easily, and that way gives everyone more discretion on who can be who can hold that office.
Okay. So we would like to vote on this point. I'd open up the floor for discussion. Does anyone have any comment they'd like to make on this before we vote this? There being no one asking for additional information, then Jonathan, let's proceed to have a vote.
We probably need a motion.
I believe that's right. So we do we have a motion on the floor to vote on the amendment of the bylaw?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Two motions. We can put this to a vote, and if I can go ahead and do that. Anyone that would that's in favor of amending the bylaws, we can go down the list. Julie, can you help me with, or maybe everyone say aye, and if we have anyone that says no, we can speak up. Does that work for everybody?
I think that'll work well enough.
Okay, so everyone in favor, please say aye.
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 If there's anyone opposed. Okay, seeing that there are no opposed votes, it seems like the motion is passed. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I lost connection there. Did we vote? I mean, okay, and then it came back. Okay, good.
Okay, I guess having gotten that that bit of the mechanics out of the way, new business. Does anyone have something related to new business that they would like to bring up at this point? If not, I think we're going to move, the next item on the agenda is election of chair and vice chair. And Sarah, you had put out an email request for nominations. Have you received nominations?
I've received one nomination for each position.
I see. Okay. So Jonathan, how do we go about a vote on this now? I guess so. Sarah, who do we have nominated then for chair?
Jeff Tart.
Okay. And Jonathan, do we need to do these? And who do we have, Sarah, for vice chair?
Keith Werner.
Okay. Jonathan, do we need to do these independently, or can we do these together, or how do we do this?
Well, I think so. Previously, I think it would make more sense to probably do them separately since they're two separate votes. And previously, we'd given everyone an opportunity to speak if they would like to do that. I mean, we only have one nomination, so for each position. So I suppose that would be up to the nominee and how y'all would like to proceed there. But I do think we should vote on them separately.
Jonathan, in the past, you've also taken nominations from the floor. Just want to make sure we give that opportunity again.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
Yes. So let's open it up for nominations from the floor now as well.
For chair?
First for chair is
I can't think of anybody better than Jeff.
okay. There being no other nominations for chair, do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Julie, I guess we know what the situation is here. So Jeff and/or Keith, would either of you like to address the board at this point prior to a vote?
Even though we don't have other nominees, I'm going to be quiet so I don't mess it up.
Talk myself
It could be a record, Jeff. Lose the vote and be the only nominee.
Exactly. Always a trendsetter.
This is why you need to be the board. This is why you need to be the chair, Jeff. Is that type of critical thinking?
Words of a seasoned leader right there.
Right.
That's right. Know when you're ahead.
Okay, so Jonathan, let's take it to a vote.
Thank you. So we're going to be voting for Jeff Tart to be the chair of the IT strategy board. I believe we would just, we do not need a motion to vote. So I think we're in a voting period. Anyone all in favor for voting for Jeff, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please speak up at this time. Okay, having no one that has opposed Mr. Tart, it looks like we have a new chair. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff, congratulations. Condolences.
Does Jeff now provide his 15-minute acceptance speech?
We're saving that to after the first of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do we need a motion for the vice chair position?
We're ready to proceed to vote for vice chair. We can do the same way as previously. So so Keith Werner has been nominated to serve as vice chair, and all those in favor for Mr. Werner, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And all those opposed. It seems that again no one has opposed the selection of Mr. Werner for vice chair, so that vote has also passed. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jeff and Keith. So I do want to address one, Keith. Now that you are vice chair, I'm wondering if it might be appropriate that we look to have you hand off the chair of the subcommittee to someone else on the board. And I'd like your opinion on if you have someone you think might be appropriate for that. And don't know that we necessarily need to do that now. Obviously, the chair can appoint that individual, I guess, in the coming next time around, or we can have some conversation about that now if that's appropriate. Unless, of course, Keith, you want to wear both hats.
I would prefer not to, and I do have a name in mind. I'd hate to catch him cold, but I do have a thought.
Okay. So, do you want to have that conversation with him sort of offline, or are we ready to address that now? And I'm good in either way on that. Don't want to put someone on the spot, but certainly willing to hear about that now if it's appropriate.
Let me reach out to him. I'd hate to put him on the spot here in the collective.
Understood. Okay. So we'll leave that to you and Jeff to work out coming days or when appropriate. Okay. Let's see. Well, one thing that I would like to do, I'd like to certainly thank Sarah, Julie, Paige, all the folks that help the board do what it has intended to do and has tried to do over the last year. I know Sarah, at times it's got to feel like you're herding cats trying to get Jeff, myself, and other folks. But please know that we sincerely appreciate your efforts in helping us.
It's been a pleasure to help all of you, and I really appreciate your leadership and support, Rocco. It's been fun.
Thanks. Well, look forward to success of the board and to the coming year. That things that I think it looks like we got great opportunity to do some things, and I wish everyone all the success possible. And okay, I see that we have a certificate of appreciation. Okay. Thank you. Thanks all. Okay. Do we have any other business we'd like to discuss?
I think Secretary Weaver was going to say something.
Was I?
Yeah. Your appreciation.
No, so we did. I talked to Rocco about this. As a number of us are rolling off the board, many of you have been part of the board from day one creation of the board. And so we just wanted to make sure everyone had a little token of our appreciation. So as shown here, these individuals will be getting a certificate signed by yours truly for what that's worth. I don't think that even gets you a coffee anymore. But anyway, we just wanted to give you a little something to say thank you for your participation. And I know some of you will continue to move forward with the new board construct and with Tina's leadership and and her direction as well. So again, thank you all very much for all you've done for helping us out here over the last 3+ years. And again, just something a little nominal, just our way of saying thank you. After all, we are state government and we can't probably do more than that.
Understood. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, and let me also echo, I know Sarah and Caitlin are on as well. These two ladies have been tremendous. One of the things I talk about is, if you look over our track record over the last 3+ years, North Carolina's trophy case got full. And in large part to the work that those two ladies have done. When we looked about the closer integration with how IT projects are being funded, they've been spearheading a lot of that work along with our colleagues in OSBM. So behind the scenes, they're not out in the public limelight. They're not the ones that are being seen visibly, but behind the scenes, they do a tremendous amount of work. And we have a lot to be grateful for, and say thank you to those two ladies in particular. I think I've ruined every spring for them so far with NASCIA awards processing or digital government work. Those reports and those submissions are not simple. They're very complex. And you got to say a lot in as few words as possible. And they've done a phenomenal job of pulling together everything that's needed. So again, Sarah and Kaylin, thank you so much for all you've done over the last 3+ years. And I think this board, to Rocco's point, owes you some gratitude as well.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Kaylin. Okay,
Well,
what's next, Rocco?
Unless there is other business, I think we're going to move to adjourn the Friday before Christmas and give everybody back a couple of hours that they might have had it blocked off on their schedule. Anybody have any other business they'd like to bring before the board before we close or before we adjourn this morning?
Rocco, just a word of thanks. Yeah, I think you've done a great job as chair of this board, and it's greatly appreciated by its members.
Agreed. Thank you, Rocco.
Yes, thank you for those kind words, folks. Okay, with that, I think we're adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay,
Happy
thanks,
holidays.
Good
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Happy New Year. Happy, healthy New
Happy
Year.
holidays.
Thanks.